Hi, my name is Angela Garland, and I'm the CEO of X11 Workspace, Drive-Thru, and Coffee House. In about 2002 and 3, when Kinko's was big and Starbucks was big, I would find that my customers were having meetings in coffee shops rather than the boardroom that we had in our shared space. And so I asked them, and he's like, it just feels more comfortable and we're more relaxed. And so that's when the wheels started churning of someone needs to create something that has the coffee house, a copy center, meeting rooms, and office space. So we opened that in 2015. So my husband was helping with the business while he was doing other things. I had my corporate job. There had been a restaurant in this building that had closed 6 months before, which happened to have an espresso machine. You know, he started sampling it and handing out samples to our tenants, and then we decided let's open up the doors to the public. So we thought, well, maybe the coffee house will be a marketing arm to the business center. So now we've transitioned into the drive-through business. We still had the coffee house open. We decided to open up a second drive-through, and thinking that if we the benefit of having the coffee shop a block away, or the drive-through a block away, and the reason why we did that is because this building gets really busy and there's no place to park. So if you can't find a place to park, you can't come into our coffee house. So we were never able to build momentum because it was an afterthought. I don't think we would never have picked an office building to put a coffee shop. I mean, it's a nice amenity to the building, but if you ever want to make money, that's not the way to do it. The entrepreneur is always, what is the end game? What's it look like when it's done? And that's what the book that my uncle had me read when I opened up the last business. He said, even though you may not ever franchise it, create it as if you are, so that anyone could walk in and say, okay, open the book and say, how do I do? Everything's documented. So I always look at where we're headed, what's the potential, because he's like, somebody's going to buy your business. It's either you or somebody else, so get it ready. If people are buying from you, then make sure you're buying from them. So that's, I mean, and that was advice actually I got when we were here. It's like, because we were still living in St. Louis and commuting the first couple of years. That would be the first thing. And actually I never knew what the Rotary was when I was, you know, a young businesswoman. I just thought it was like for old guys and they must stand around and visit. No, it's like the biggest civic you know, they give money. That's all they do is they raise money and they create volunteers. And so that, being a part of that helped me to be in the community. It's interesting that the people that we have hired do not have a strong role model in their life. It's like Scott and I end up kind of being the parents to them. And so it's like, here I am through coffee in this little drive-through. I'm getting one-on-one time with these girls. I mean, I had 2 girls that I said, okay, what's great about you? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, okay, come on. I want you to tell me 10 things. Come on, they came up like 1 or 2. I'm like, all right, here we go. And I started listing, you know, and I said, you care, you're a visionary, you are a good worker, you're sweet to others, whatever, just kept listing. And I said, okay, carry this with you. So if you forget who you are and you can't think of anything positive to say about yourself, carry this with you. They just have not been trained to say that. I mean, we still, as older women, do that. And I love to help people learn what their natural strengths are, because I think, so with the girls that are working here, it's like I have been given 12 young women an opportunity I'm giving them the opportunity to discover what their true potential is. And especially in a small town, a lot of people they're like, well, my mom was, you know, my dad was a farmer, my mom worked at the local 5 and dime, and I didn't get to go to college or whatever, and they don't, and I don't mean to stereotype, but it could be, they don't know what's out there. I mean, one of the girls that works for us, she's like, I've never left the state. So when like going into St. Louis is like the big city, because it's 45 minutes away, but most stay here. So I'm saying, do you understand that like in 5 years, you could be the vice president of training and development? They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, you are a master at what you're doing right now, so you can train others, and this is where we're going. We had a meeting with a friend, but also someone who helped us divide like responsibilities. And he asked Scott, he said, do you have any desire to be the CEO? He's like, no. So I think that helped us like, okay, do you have any desire to be a trainer? No. So now it's realizing, I used to think that I didn't need him. Like, I can hire someone to do that. It's like, no, now we both know. And he's like, I don't know what I would do. The whole business would go collapse if I wasn't here, because if I'm taking care of finance and marketing and whatever. So we finally had to get to the place where both of us understand that value, but also the balance part, we have to be okay with. Like right now, we are in a fast-paced, reacting, we both love what we're doing, and also taking turns being the person who just gets to stay home. Five years from now, I see us, I want a huge growth through the Midwest because I feel like that's the most ignored area. I think that small towns is our niche. I'd like to open up, the goal would be open 10 in the next 2 years. I would like to be in St. Louis County, I'd like to be in St. Louis City. I say 5 years from now, I'd say we'd have, 75 locations.